Eastward! This has to be one of the most interesting and dull games I've ever played. How's that for an opening line? Now, to be fair to that statement, it feels like this wanted to be two different types of games. One with an interesting story, with intriguing characters, and one with dungeons, with puzzles and enemies to fight. The problem is, most of the time in this game, you're going to be in the dungeons, and that's the most boring and tedious things you do in this game. That's not to say this is a bad game. It's just one that has really major problems with pacing. If it cut down the dungeons to about half, or at least made them interesting, it would have made it a lot more fun to play. Instead, I was just enjoying the story parts and just dreading when it made me go into the makeshift dungeons. Now, let me make this clear about the dungeons. It's not that they're bad, they're just so unremarkable, and the fact that you spend so much time in them, that was the most annoying thing. There just wasn't much to it. It's just so weird when everything else is great. You play as John and his adopted daughter. You'll switch between them. They're going to have their own ways of fighting, which will be upgraded in time as you explore the areas and dungeons. I love the way this game is presented. The characters were very expressive. Watching the different expressions they had on their face did a great job of emphasizing the sadness or humor of a moment. The story is about these two people being banned from their underground lair because one of them won't stop talking about the beautiful outside world. The mayor of this town does not want to talk about the outside world as he thinks it's all dead and doesn't want any dissension. The story really starts up when they do get outside and the people they meet along the journey as they moved eastward. The towns that you visit were each different, and I really enjoyed exploring them. The way the entire game looked was amazing. I love the art style, and it might be worth playing for that alone. I loved every part of this game when it was focusing on the people and the world they explore. The problems come when they add in the dungeons or enclosed parts of the world to explore. It's not that they're bad, they're often just ugly environments with simple puzzles. And they go on too long. They'll have you fighting enemies which will just respawn ad nauseum, and it was just never enjoyable. And while there was a clever idea here and there, the fact that they dragged it on so long made it not enjoyable. Some of the gameplay also really annoyed me, as there were some parts where you're separated and you couldn't get to each other, except you totally could. She's a foot away from you, and you're supposed to think this is some unpassable distance? Just hop up or take my hand. Sure, if they did that, they wouldn't be able to finish the dungeon, but these moments were more annoying than fun. If they had trimmed down these sections, it might not have been so bad. I got tired of it so quickly. The story and characters were the only thing that kept me going. The enemies, for the most part, were very simple to kill and repetitive. Just dodge them and power through. Or if you can, just ignore them. I did like the boss fights though. They always had an interesting twist, and the designs were always unique. One of the most impressive things is there is a full turn-based RPG in this. It has story and gameplay. It's nowhere near as good as the story in the real game, but it was impressive that they did this. Eastward is... I don't know what to think about it. I kept going back and forth on this one. It's two sides of a coin. A great story with dull dungeons. Did I enjoy my time with it? I want to say yes, with a huge however. If it didn't have the great character work, I would say this wasn't worth your time. It's also not a short game. Expect to put at least 25 hours into this. A good deal of that is in the drawn out dungeons. I would say wait for this to go on sale. Less than $10. If you like a simple action-adventure puzzle game with a fantastic story, you will enjoy this. If you do decide to buy this, I would still wait for it to go on sale.